Good morning, Kevin. Good morning from South Carolina. Well, good morning from Washington State, the opposite side of the United States. Hope you've had a terrific week. Do, 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 do. Thumbs up. I'll give it a little bit for people to join in. I've been absent for the last couple of weeks. Well, 11 days. That flu sucks. It hit me hard. Sprinkle Donuts. Good morning. Good to see you. Alex Murdoch denied new trial, I guess. Yeah. Good morning, Gayla. Hope you're doing better. I'm doing better. It's been a long road. Sherry, good morning. Gemma, good morning. I hope everyone has had a wonderful week. But yeah, that flu just kicked my ass. I was down for the count. There wasn't anything that I could do. I mean, just getting on my phone to check my email to keep in correspondence with people, during it was that was more than I could take. And it did. The odd thing is it was just kind of up and down like a roller coaster ride. It's like I start to feel better, and then I would just crash, and then and I couldn't do anything. Well, thank you for sharing, Gemma, and good morning to you as well. Give a couple more minutes for people to join, and then we'll get the recap going. Please keep in mind that some of the things that I'm going to share tonight, today on this morning on the recap, might be a little bit older to you. They might be a week old because I've been sick. But Alex Murdoch denied a new trial. Well, I'm not really surprised about that. I mean, even if they gave him a new trial, what is he hoping to accomplish? He's gonna die in prison. I mean, just the financial crimes alone will put him way past his life expectancy. Good morning, Cement Shoes. Welcome to this morning's crime recap, Coffee Brew. Hope you've been doing well. But yeah, I mean, so let's just say they threw out the murder convictions and for his son and wife. He's still going to die in prison. He'll never outlive his sentence now. And in a new trial, all that would do is just waste taxpayers' money. I always wonder why they do that sometimes. Say like give you a hypothetical here. Like they'll just say that it was Ted Bundy, who was on trial. You convict him for one or two murders. You give him a life sentence. Do you really need to prosecute him for the other 40 that he did? I mean, sure, it gets justice for the family, in that aspect, but is it really worth it? I mean, of course, the Ted Bundys or the Alex Murdochs of the world, they're going to fight them. So, all right, let's get the recap up and going. Every Saturday morning at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11 o'clock on the East Coast of the United States, I do the Coffee Brew Recap Show. So, first one is the last remains of a known victim of Gary Ridgway has positively been identified as 16-year-old Tamara Lillies. She's been positively identified. She was known in the case file as Bones number 20 all these years, but they've positively identified her using familial DNA. Oddly, though, Tamara, or as she was called by her friends, Tammy, was not listed as a missing person or a runaway immediately. Her family just figured that she just moved off somewhere else. It wasn't until several years after she was actually missing that she was reported, missing. But she has positively been identified. Now, this does not wrap up the Gary Ridgway case, which is still open because there are 10 unaccounted victims, according to the FBI. And those 10 unaccounted victims are because of partial confessions that Gary Ridgway gave for victims, but they've never been able to identify or find those bodies. So there are still a possible 10 other cases out there of people that he may have murdered and disposed of. Finally, after 3 minutes, I'm done. A small brace starting to PT on the broken ankle. Well, that's good, Sherry. I'm happy you're finally moving forward after 3 months of that. I wish you the best. But again, she's been positively been identified. And the picture you see there is from the King County Sheriff's Department. That they had her, the picture they used on the missing poster. Over the course of the last 25 years, she has been, there have been hints, I guess you could say, or false leads that she was still alive and that she had moved to the East Coast of the United States. But now, again, through familial DNA, they've been positively able to identify the remains that they had as bones number 20 are of Tamara Lillies. So that's a good positive thing that they've finally been able to identify her. Are there more remains that they have? No. They have no more remains, but they do have 10 unaccounted for, like I said, victims. Jason Moan, age 32, from Pennsylvania, allegedly killed his father and streamed it afterwards and showed his father's decapitated head on a live stream on YouTube. Yes, this sick son of a, you insert word there, did this. Now, his live stream was not flagged and wasn't flagged until, today is Saturday, the 2nd. It wasn't until the 1st that his video was even flagged or taken down by YouTube as graphic content. Yet 165 videos that I have on my channel right now, live streams and videos, are flagged by YouTube as graphic content. When you click on the video, if you can find it, or the live stream, it asks you, to verify that you're age 21 or older. But Jason, allegedly killed his father and then live streamed it. So this is a case that I've been following, but very little information is factually known right now. There's been a lot of speculation online about it, though. Scott Peterson. Oh, Scott Peterson. How we forget about this sick son of a bitch. Now has 3 new attorneys with the Innocence Project who are looking into getting Scott a new trial on grounds of the following: jury, tampering and issues with the jury. And we're not even talking about the jury member who lied to get on the case and who hid that she had a previous domestic violence and restraining order. We're not even talking that, but they have found even more evidence that a jury member had lied and that there was possible jury tampering with the media. Additionally, They found evidence in the case file that was never turned over to the defense. So they have now appointed three attorneys with the Innocence Project for Scott Peterson. These would open up a whole new avenue to appeals if the state of California allows it. Put it on the air, but makes other people use the word unalived, right? Unalived. But Scott Peterson, again, like I said, has three new attorneys, 2 men and 1 woman. I do not know their names, but they have been appointed through the Innocence Project to look over Scott's case. Danny Masterson, that star from That 70s Show, is now being housed where Charles Manson lived out his final years. Not the absolute last part of Charles Manson's life. He lived that out in medical hospital, but where he was housed before then. But additionally, Ashton Kutcher, the star from That 70s Show, is also now connected to him. He's been approved to be a visitor to see Danny Masterson. There are only 3 people that are currently right now approved to see Danny in actual prison. His girlfriend at the time, fiance, whatever you want to call her. There's some speculation that they may have had a ceremony, but his attorney and now Ashton Kutcher. I guess maybe Ashton wants to go talk to him about his religion. I don't know, but he's been approved, so now 3 people are approved to see him. Will he go see him? Don't know, but he has the possibility to go see him now. Summer Wells. While I was sick and down for the count, I went down this rabbit hole of trying to find out, who's still reporting or covering the Summer Wells disappearance. And to say that there are a lot of people who have covered it and are trying to be nice here, covering it, but lying and talking about nothing but speculation. I mean, let's all admit it. Dawn Wells is a drunk. Her mom, Candace, she's not that great of a parent to start with in the beginning. But are they guilty of whatever happened to Summer? I don't know. But a lot of people who were covering it have completely stopped. And I think it's a complete injustice to her and to other missing children out there to stop and just walk away from, covering the Summer Wells case. There's a lot more out there that can be done that's not, based on speculation, that people can look into or report on to keep her memory alive. Do the brother with Peterson? Yeah. That's what they do. Cement shoes is they help people who've been wrongfully convicted, and those who, even if he is guilty, which we all know Scott Peterson is, for killing Lacey and his unborn son, and he deserves the same constitutional rights and rights to appeal as anyone else. And it's not good that the state would withhold evidence against Scott Peterson. Because if they're willing to get away with it, in withholding evidence against Scott Peterson, what are they willing to do against anyone else who doesn't have a high-profile case like that? So, and good morning, Francie. Rachel Smith, the special prosecutor who was appointed to the Chad Daybell case as step Okay, back. I don't know what's going on with that. With that, I was watching it and it was perfectly fine. Francie, you should be able to hear me now. Right now, it says that it's perfectly fine. It's back. I had to reboot it. Zelda's Ghost. Good morning, Zelda's Ghost. Welcome. All right, so I was talking about Rachel Smith, and everybody should, the audio and video should be back. But Rachel Smith is stepping down. She never said why she's stepping down, but she doesn't reside in the state of Idaho, and she has been doing commuting back and forth between Pennsylvania and here in Idaho. But she's stepping down. They do need to appoint another special prosecutor because of the death penalty phase of the case against Chad Daybell. So, here shortly, we can expect Robert Woods to, say that they've appointed another special prosecutor. We've missed you, Will. Well, thank you, Gayla. All right, next, Brian Kohlberg, the accused killer of the 4 students at the University of Idaho Moscow campus. His attorneys have filed a request to move the case to a larger jurisdiction because they do not believe he can get a fair trial where he is now and where they're supposed to have it done because of press coverage. And they believe that they also additionally that they filed in there as another reason for wanting to move the case is because not only the press coverage, but the jury selection pool would be smaller. So they want to move it to a larger jurisdiction. I don't know where they're going to move it where somebody would not know, or have not heard about Brian Kohlberg, and it's not necessarily you have to find people who have never heard of it. It's can you judge, the case accordingly based on the facts in the case that are presented. That's all the ones that I had. I mean, I wish I would have done more of them, but case files. But like I said, I've been sick for the last couple of weeks, and it's really hard for me to do anything. And I know a couple of those were at least a week old. Short Knives, good morning. Welcome to this morning's coffee brew crime recap. Boo-hoo for Brian, huh? Even if the case for when it comes to Brian Kohlberg, if they were to move it to Boise or to Spokane, or to the capital, or anywhere else, where would you possibly move it where you'd be able to have what they consider a larger selection of jury members? Short nights. I'm getting better. It's been a struggle though. Thank you, Zelda Ghost. I'm not 100% there yet, but I'm getting there. I mean, if the flu, it just came on. First my son got sick, then he got my wife sick, then because that young children, they're just vectors for colds and flus. If there's one out there, they catch them quick and they bring them home and and hand them out to the family like trading cards. But then after my wife got sick, and then my daughter, and then I was just like, I was still okay, but I was taking care of them, and then I got it, and boy, when it hit me, I was down for the count. It was miserable. San Diego. That way you can go to it, Gayla. Jury of peers. Peers has what meeting? Jury of peers. When it comes to a jury of peers, it's people who are of the same social, economic, and level of of somebody, like you. It doesn't have to be, they seat 14 jurors who are all serial killers. They have to be of the same socio-economic background, and mix when it comes to the jury of peers. Do I vaccinate? No, no, Francie. I do not vaccinate. I've never had a flu shot. There's a reason behind that, but I'm not going to get into it because there's a lot of people out there that are anti-vaxxers and they're like, ha ha. No, it's not it. I don't get the flu shot for other reasons. Yeah, I don't understand why that the signal drops like that. It just does sometimes. Gianna Marie, good morning. And welcome to this morning's Coffee Brew Crime Recap Show. Now I'm just answering questions now as people ask questions. But I don't think they'd move the case to Sacramento. I mean, I think they'd get a larger jury pool if they were, how large of a jury pool do you need? But I think they could acquire that jury pool if they moved it to Boise, if it was held in Boise, or if they moved it to Spokane, which is what 70 miles from Moscow, about 70 miles somewhere in there. I'd have to look at the map again, but I mean, I know it like the back of my hand. I drive that state highway all the time. Nope. No, Francie, no breakfast here, and I'm not making it either. I think everybody's on their own for this morning. I'm working on a special education needs video to upload later. Well, good. I look forward to it. I fell asleep last night. I didn't get a chance to watch your Elvis one. I'm going to do it hopefully after this morning's live stream. What do you think Scott Peterson case now? I'm late. Gianna Marie, when it comes to Scott Peterson, he's guilty. I look at the evidence that was presented in the case when it first happened. Were there things that were done that um, never should have been done? Like the radio station who put the giant billboard outside of the jury window where they could see it, and it was what 15 feet by 36 feet or something like that, like a billboard you'd see as you drive down the highway with Scott Peterson's name on it and the word guilty on it, and then the phone number to call into the shock jock, radio station. That was there. Yeah, that never should have happened. Did it persuade the jury, more than the evidence? I don't think so. Likewise, the jury member who lied to get on the jury, I don't think that swayed the jury anymore because she was only one of 14, 12 jurors plus the alternates. But I think he was guilty then, and he's still guilty. I work at an apartment complex, and one of my residents brought me pancakes and eggs for breakfast. Oh, that's cool. It was really nice of them to do that. 65. Good morning and welcome. But the Innocence Project still is looking into it because he still has the same constitutional rights, even though he's a scumbag, and he did it. I don't know how they're ever going to be able to prove that he didn't because there's more than enough evidence there. It wasn't just circumstantial evidence that he killed Lacey and his unborn son. He did it. Strawberry shortcake. Good morning, Kitty Q. Oh, thank you, Kitty Q. I'm getting there. Not 100% yet, but I'm getting better. I'm taking it day by day right now because the during this thing, man, it's been like a roller coaster ride, and I'm afraid just as right now I'm on an upswing, feeling better, but I don't want another one of those crashes where I work myself too much and ended up back down and out. Aren't there like three Scott Petersons that murdered their wives? Um, I don't know, Francie. Do you think Alex Murdaugh get a new trial? No, no, he's not. I don't think he is for any of it. Awful acid attack here in the UK. A manhunt is still on. I saw that this morning about the man who threw acid on the mother and her kids. I mean, what talk about a shitty like photo? You can only see like part of the man's face. I was like, is he like deformed himself? It's a senior property, and some of the residents are difficult, but some are out of this world. Well, that's cool, Sprinkle Donut. But Francie, I'd have to Google that to see if there is, three Scott Petersons that killed their wives. Yeah, but I saw that it came across my news desk this morning about the acid attack. No, he got acid on himself. I've read a couple stories about Muslim women and children who've been attacked, recently in the news. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. None of it does. The man through the acid was rejected asylum twice, and then because he claimed he turned to religion, the government let him in. Claimed he was better. Mm. I think we're all immigrants, aren't we? Unless you live in the United States and you're Native American, or you can trace your ancestry in the UK back to 1400s. We're all immigrants of some form. My phone, and here I am. Yeah, people do a lot of things. Susan Weaver, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to this morning's crime recap. I just read about that dad that killed his wife and three kids in her car and started a fire. They all died. That sucks. Kitty Q is a mutt. I mean, my family, we can trace our lineage back, our family history back to, I think it's like 1625, but not in America, from Ireland. And we know exactly how we got here, because there were two brothers who came through Ellis Island back to back. That their immigration numbers, on the immigration reports, you can actually look at them, the copies of them. But on the immigration report, one got the last name Finley, Finley, and the other brother who came in right after him, they spelled his last name Finney. They dropped the L. Your leg is going crazy, Will. What's up? It's something I always do. I'm sorry. Nervous tick about me. Try not to pay attention to it. Will, is it cool little blue car in Mini Cooper? That? No, it's a pickup. It was a planter. My wife got me. It had those desert flowers in it. It's an old Chevy, like 50s Chevy. but I keep a pin in it. But it's ceramic. No, I don't have any Mini Coopers around here. I got a couple Mustangs up on the top shelf. Two 65 Mustangs. But I just keep it there for looks. It keeps my buddy. This is my dog. He's always looking over my shoulder. That's Lucky. My dad traced our DNA family back, and we were 76 Northern Europeans, 4% Canadian, 6% American, 7% Scottish, and 4% Welsh. Wow. You have a Mini? You have a Mini Cooper, like the actual real car? My wife just bought a Honda. Her Chevy Traverse is on its last leg. We got to get it fixed. She bought a Honda. Got to get back and forth to work somehow. But then, the truck that I drive every day is a 1996 Dodge 1500. It was a V6, and that thing's going to outlive me. I swear on my life. I'm gonna outlive me. You had a 1964 and a half Ford Pony Mustang. Well, that's cool. 64 and a half. That's the very first one. My friend John had a cherry out 1965 Ford Mustang, and it was in perfect condition, show quality car. And then the week before he got married, his soon-to-be wife was driving it and ran into the back of a garbage truck, totaled the car. It still sits in his garage to this day, but I mean, it would take thousands and thousands of dollars to put it back together. And it would never be the same. But there it sits up on jack stands in his garage, covered with, cardboard boxes and other things over the years. Best car ever was an old Mercedes, built like a tank, never failed. Honda seems like a good choice. Yeah, she likes it. I've never owned a Mercedes Benz though. Was your dad's? It was navy blue. So was my friend John's. It was a two-tone, dark blue and navy blue, like a lighter blue, two-tone color. But he had a ground-up restoration done on that car. Originally, when he bought it, it was yellow. It was canary yellow or whatever yellow Ford makes, but that it was originally a yellow Mustang, but he had it stripped down to the metal and acid dipped and stripped off, and he spent that was his pride and joy, and then she totaled it. They're not even married anymore. They got divorced like I want to say 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but in my other garage, I have a 1971 Ford F100 that is I've been doing a frame up restoration on. The motor's on the engine's on a stand. It's completely gutted. There's no interior, nothing in it at all. You had the white leather interior. Wow. I backed into a no parking sign yesterday, and it's going to cost me. Ooh, yikes. I've owned some pretty interesting cars over my lifetime. One of the first cars I ever owned was an AMC Gremlin. I never owned a Pacer, but I owned a Gremlin. And then I had a Scout. That thing was talk about a tank. That thing that you could drive that thing through a brick wall and it would barely scratch it. Linda Us. Good morning, Linda. Welcome to this morning's coffee brew. Crime recap show. We're just I'm answering questions now. If you have any, well, probably would have needed to seen the cases, but In the meantime, I guess just hang out and ask questions or whatever. Well, thank you, Linda. I'm feeling better, but I'm not 100% that yet. Kind of just taking it day by day. Hopefully, tomorrow I'll be feeling good enough to do trivia night. But I'm not planning on anything right now. I'm just kind of taking it as I go. Because the past 2 weeks it's been like a roller coaster ride up and down. I start feeling better, and then I just crash. And the last thing I want to do is set up another live stream like trivia night for tomorrow, and then not be able to do it at all. Do you still golf with Tim? Whenever he comes to town. See, I live on this side of Washington State. He lives all the way on the opposite side. He's over by the West Coast, like literally by the coast, itself. He just bought a house over there, and I live all the way down over here. So we're about 270-ish miles away from each other. What was wrong, Will? Gianna Maria, I was sick. But I see Tim whenever he comes to town, which is, he'll be in town probably sometime this month. Forget America is huge. It is. It would be distance wise. Let's just say like you lived in the greater London area. Tim would be in Ireland, Scotland. How far is Loomis, Washington from you? I don't know. Let's Google it. I don't know. I don't know where Loomis is. Loomis, Washington. Many attractions. Windy Peak Trailhead, Iron Gate Trailhead. Yeah, that doesn't really answer my question, though. How far is it? Loomis is all the way up by the Canadian border. It's a 4 hours and 19-minute drive from me. It's your answer. But apparently Loomis is all the way up by the Canadian border. I'm all the way down by the border by the state of Oregon. I'm like 20 miles from the state of Oregon right now. I hear it's not too far from Canadian border. And according to what it says here, yeah, it would be. Well, it's 242 miles from me to Loomis. 250 miles depending on which route you take. But it's got to be up there by the Canadian border, not too far, because it looks like it's right on the line. But I've never been there. I've been to Canada quite a few times. Been all over, from Spokane, which is east of Loomis, to Bellingham, which is to the west, up by the peninsula. Heck, I can go from one side of England to the other in that time. Yeah, well, when Tim used to live here, I mean, he was like 3 blocks away, 3 city blocks, but now he's not. So that's the way it works. A lot of my friends have moved out, of this area. You have to understand where the geographic location where I am. Better than 80% of all of the jobs in this area are tied to the U.S. government. You either work directly for the U.S. government, you work for a subcontractor for the U.S. government, or you work in the scientific field for the U.S. government. You work in one of those 3. That's like better than 80% of the jobs here. And contracts come and they go. So if you work for a subsidiary, or someone who's working for the government, you might have a job here, for 4 years, 6 years, and then the contract ends. you can hope to get on with the next contractor that takes over. But if not, gee, you're gone. And a lot of people who live in this area, they're here for 4 or 6 years and they're gone. So, small world could probably drive to me in a few hours. Yeah. See, Purple lives in Washington State. She's she's not that far from me. I haven't seen her in the chat this morning though. I hope she's doing well. Hope her husband's doing well too. Yeah, depending on where you're at, short nights. From where I live in Cincinnati to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee is 5 hours or so. Cincinnati, Ohio. Love the Cincinnati area. Very, very pretty there. Happy Gnosis. Good morning, sweetheart. I hope you are doing well. It's nice to see you again. Edmonton, Alberta. Edmonton, Alberta. I haven't been to Edmonton in quite a few years. Last time I was in Canada, I was in Victoria. Zelda's Ghost is in Northern California. I stay away from the state of California. No offense, but I try to. I try to stay away from it. Kitty Q, you need more coffee? I got about 3/4 of a cup myself. I'm getting there. I'm getting there, Happy Gnosis. Feeling better. I'm kind of like an upswing right now. Cross my fingers, knock on wood. That I'm filing past it all. But I was telling everyone else in the chat, it's been kind of like a roller coaster ride. It's like I start to feel better, and then it's like I get to a point where it's like I crest and then I just crash. So I'm hoping that I don't have to go through that again, that it's over with. Your brother lives in Ottawa. Ottawa. I've been there quite a few times to Ottawa. I had friends that used to live in Ottawa. Happy Gnosis. And is now a Canadian citizen. Well, that's cool. When we go to Frank's Noodles house in Portland, we stay overnight over at night in Washington. I've never been to Frank's Noodle House in Portland. Every time I go to Portland, I go to a record shop that's just off of Martin Luther King Boulevard. But otherwise, I try to stay away from big cities like that. I don't even go to Seattle. It's just not. I'm not that kind of person. Where it's like major metropolises interest me. Oh, but I was going to say about Happy Gnosis about Ottawa. My friend used to live in Ottawa, but they moved to I want to say Billings, but it might be Butte. It's in Montana. It's one of the two. I always get the two mixed up. It's either Billings or Butte, wherever the university is, because he's working on his master's degree. But he's still a Canadian citizen. Cincinnati is the home of the famous Skyline chili. Is it? You don't leave your house if you don't have to. Well, I see a lot of YouTube channels about the Kingston drug problem is bad. Oh yeah, I went down that rabbit hole watching about the trank, this new thing that's been hitting the Kensington area, where what they're doing is they're mixing tranquilizers, horse tranquilizers, with not meth, but fentanyl. They're mixing the two of them together, and it basically turns them. People fall asleep standing up, or they're walking around like zombies. I've watched quite a few of those videos on YouTube about it. That's some sad things. Do not like cinnamon in my chili, but Skyline is okay. Join the introverted club. Right? Mike, Allah Akbar. God is good. Good morning, Mike. I hope you are doing well. Allah Akbar. Yes. But if you guys haven't checked out Happy Gnosis's YouTube channel, I highly suggest it. Checking out Happy Gnosis's YouTube channel. I love listening to her talk. She always it doesn't matter what the subject matter might be. It always brings a smile to my face. There are a couple of YouTubers out there. Whenever if you read and if you live the life that I do, where I read about the most deplorable shit that people do to each other all day long. I like my wife says, I never get the stories about the happy unicorns or the rainbows. But there are a couple of YouTubers out there that that make content that even when after I've been listening and reading this stuff all week long, I can tune into one of their channels and even watch one of their older videos or older content. It makes me smile. Makes my day better. And Happy Gnosis is one of them. So is Mel whatever. Mel always brings a smile to my face, and so does Happy Gnosis. But I highly recommend checking out her channel. She does an awesome job. That means you're real. You're damn right she's real. I don't know if I've ever had Skyline chili. Now I've been to Cincinnati, in the area quite a few times in my lifetime. I used to go there, just outside of Cincinnati. Matter of fact, some of the earliest memories I have are with my dad. My dad was a master carpenter, and he used to travel wherever he would find, that they were tearing down like an old barn or something, and it didn't matter if it was in Ohio, Iowa, Montana. If he found out about that there was some old growth timber somewhere, we would, hop in the old truck and drive off. And I'm getting the shivers because my mom used to make us liverwurst sandwiches, wrap them up in wax paper, and put them in a lunchbox for me and my dad. My dad loved liverwurst. Liverwurst disgusts me. So I would take my liverwurst out and put it in his sandwich, and I just eat the bread. My snickerdoodles would put a smile on your face. Well, you're darn right they would, Gayla. I like snickerdoodles, period. Do I have a P.O. box to share? Yeah, I do. For my business, I do. Hopefully you're talking to me. I get a lot of, and the PO box is also in the end of all my videos. Not that people watch the last 5 or 10 seconds of my videos, but it's right there. My dad loved liverwurst sandwiches on rye bread and mustard and slice of sweet onion. Ooh, I've never been a fan of liverwurst. Even as a kid, I couldn't stand it. I mean, I've had it as an adult now. It's not that bad, but as a kid, it was just like I always wished my mom would made me a peanut butter sandwich. I would have eaten the hell out of that. But she always made those liverwurst sandwiches. She'd make like 4 or 5 of them. And me and my dad, that wasn't the only thing we ate though. It was just, she always felt good about making us something to take on the road with us. She'd make him a thermos of hot coffee, and then I used to have those little. All right, I'm probably dating myself here. Do y'all remember lunch boxes? Metal lunch boxes that came with the thermos. Oh, I had a Scooby-Doo lunchbox and I had a Scooby-Doo thermos that we actually had the glass insert in it. Now, that's not the plastic stuff that came out in the 70s much later, but it had an actual glass tube inside of it. My mom would make me Tang and my dad coffee in his. I have it. I have his thermos here. Thermos. This was my dad's. The old Stanley thermos. But she'd make this thing, fill it with coffee for him, and my little thermos she would put Tang in. It's Snoopy. I had Scooby Doo. Boston Weiger. Yes, I had a lunchbox too, a thermos, and drank Tang. Yeah, but and then she'd make us liverwurst sandwiches, and he had a lunchbox that was green, the same color green as this. I mean, this thing is, I don't know how old this damn thing is, but it's ancient. Do they even date these things? I'm sure these numbers on the bottom mean something. A 61 in 1961. I don't know. But there's a whole bunch of patent numbers and stuff like that on the bottom. Aladdin Stanley, and then a patent numbers. But anyways, but we would always, we'd eat that on the way to wherever we were going. If maybe it was upstate, Minnesota, because we lived in Wisconsin. I was born and raised in Wisconsin. But we would travel from there to wherever he would find out about old wood, maybe a home or a barn or whatever it might have been, being torn down. How about Limburger cheese? We used to eat that all the time, and rye and sweet onion. I'm forbidden for bringing that into our house now. Limburger cheese, that's what my sister calls the stinky cheese. We used to eat Limburger cheese all the time. Yeah, I haven't had it in a while. I mean, I think there's like one store locally that sells it. Treasure of the Thermos. Yeah, I remember having a Rainbow Bright lunchbox and a strawberry shortcake one. I'm sure my sisters had strawberry shortcake. I think I remember that. But that was my. So I have four sisters. I have two older sisters and two younger sisters, and then me. I'm stuck in the middle. But if you want to look at all of us, it goes to my brother, who disappeared in the 70s. Then I had two older sisters, then me, then two younger sisters. Well, sadly, I lost a sister who was just older than me. She passed away, and I just figured it out the other day. 6 years ago. Just goes by like that. But anyways, I'm sure one of my younger sisters who were born in the mid 70s. Well, my youngest sister was born in like 77. Yeah, 77 or 76. But I think she had a plastic strawberry shortcake lunchbox. In the middle of sisters, yeah. I was always outnumbered, Gayla. Always outnumbered. That's why I spent all my time with my dad, until I lost my dad when I was 10. He died of complications of diabetes. But then it was just me and my four sisters and my mom. Yeah, I was going to win lots of arguments there. But it made me into the person I am today. Everything that happens in our lives shapes us either for the positive or negative, and you have to make the best of it. God knows, I could have had a much easier life than I did, but outnumbered, three older, you were outnumbered as well with three older brothers. Even as a young man, I was the enforcer. I had to keep all the a-holes away from my sisters. You have a twin brother and he's a pain. I'm sorry. I've always gotten along better with my older siblings than I did with my younger siblings. Will, do you still have any of your old toys? No, I don't have anything, Francie. I don't have any. All of our photo albums, and trust me, my mother took a lot of photographs, and there are probably 20 photo albums of just sunsets, and sunrises, and then the rest of them, probably another 20 photo albums of just me and my sisters. I don't even have those. All of those belong with my oldest sister has them. She has them somewhere tucked away in a closet in her house. If you have a positive attitude while knowing the darker side of life, you can be happy. It's true. Short nights. I have 6 older brothers. Gee. Zelda Ghost says I have just one older sister. Hmm. Gave all my toys to my cousins and never forgave her. I don't have anything from when I was a kid. It just wasn't something that we kept around, toys or anything like that, and used them, and they went ways somewhere. And for quite a few years, when I was younger, my mother also ran a daycare out of our home, so things got destroyed that way with all those kids. So on top of 5 kids of her own, at home, she had like half dozen others. Kimberly, good morning. Well, it's good to see you up and about. Glad that you're feeling better, sir. Thank you very much. I have to run to work, but I had to see how you're doing. I'm doing good, Kimberly. I'm getting better. Hopefully, past all this. But you have a terrific day today. Thank you for stopping in. You have the right to those photo albums? Well, sure, Francie. I'm the one who gave them to her, though. I had them all here, and I've been lugging them around for 30 plus years, and I didn't need them. I made copies of all the photos of me and my sisters from my younger sibling, and I didn't need them. And my older sister didn't have any, so I was like, I just boxed them all up, put them in the trunk of my car for one of my trips when I went back home to see her, and I'm like, here you go. You can take care of them now. Have you been poorly, Will? I've been in poor health. Can you ask how your son is doing? Yeah, he's doing well. Linda, thank you for asking. Growing like a damn weed. And it seems like every time I catch up on buying clothes for him, he outgrows them before he wears them out. Now we're in that stage of life. He's all of 7 years old. Boy, did I make his day the other day. So, for those who don't know, my son loves to make videos. And but 99% of what he does, he takes other videos that are out there, maybe music videos, maybe other videos or cartoons, and he mashes them up and he makes his own videos. And he also he inserts himself into the videos. Well, he's had this little tiny green screen that came with the camera that we got him a while back that he still uses. He loves using it. But I got him it's a 6 foot by 15 foot green screen that I put up in our living room. So he's got an area now where he is. I guarantee he's in front of it right now, making green screen videos, and so he can film himself. But all those videos are all unlisted, and no one's ever going to see them because he doesn't know anything about the internet, and and people who watch that kind of content. So you'll never be on my channel. You'll never be on the Taco Podcast. But I don't care if people ask about him. He's a sweet kid. He's on the autism spectrum, but that doesn't define him. And we're doing everything we can to make his life just as fulfilled as every other kid. Unfortunately, I'm going broke doing it. Have you had a dream about being in a hall, looking out to the street again? No. Poorly in the UK English for sick, not well. Hmm. I'll be 50 next month, and having 6 older brothers, I knew I have to live through the loss when it came. But this year, I watched one taken from cancer, and it really hit hard. I'm truly sorry about that short night. Well, congratulations on making it 50 years. I remember 50. It went by. Cancer sucks. It does. Truly sorry for anyone who has lost someone to cancer. At 7, Francie, that boy knows more about video editing and how to work these different programs than I know. I sit back sometimes in the living room, and I watch him while he's on the computer just to see what he's doing, so I can learn how to do what I'm doing better. It's just something that is gifted to him. Now, my son he's speech delayed. He only has probably about 3 dozen words that he says clear and correctly. And a lot of it is like his own made up language he has on top of it all. And making videos is a way for him to express himself and communicate with the world, because he doesn't just make those videos. He makes videos about other people or things that he wants. He's doing a lot, and it's just amazing just how easy it seems to come to him. Maybe he'll make a living from it someday, or maybe it's just something that it's a fad that's going to come and it's going to be gone tomorrow. But right now, it's a way for him to communicate with the world around him, and he feels attached to it. I remember 52, I think. 53. Endless Edgy. Good morning and welcome to this morning's Coffee Brew Crime Recap Show. We are currently doing just chat, answering questions. But 53 in 3.5 weeks. Make it stop. Well, welcome to 53. So if you're 53, you're born in what? 70 or 71? Right? I'm doing the math in my head right. But hey, happy birthday in 3.5 weeks from now. Ooh, Linda's going to be 68 years young in March. I have a sibling who has a March birthday. My youngest sister is March. There's April, then there's June, July, and August. That's when the 5 of us, 2 old sisters, my younger sister, and myself, were born in those months. '71. Well, happy birthday. All the same, endlessly edgy. 1971. It's a good year to be born. 70s, if you're born in the 70s, then you remember the heydays of the MTV era. You did all the stupid shit you were going to do in your life before cell phones could record it and blast it all over the internet. You grew up when there was real music, and rock and roll was rock and roll and pop was pop, and there was very little crossover of all of it. Cars were still made to last forever. A refrigerator made in the 1970s probably still works to this day. Unlike the stuff you buy today, and 3 years from now, it's all broken and crap and it can't be repaired. The 80s were unforgettable. I remember when MTV came on TV, and the TV, you till well, at least here at my area, at 8 o'clock at night, that you got the Star Spangled Banner and the flag waving, on screen, and then there was no TV. But MTV then came on, and then they kept on our local broadcasting until 10 p.m. And then it would be the same thing, the flag would, and the Star Spangled Banner. Your sons were born in the 70s, Gayla. It's a good time to be born. Yeah, that was the 80s though. Now MTV doesn't play music. It's all reality shows and crap. VH1 is long gone. Music is not the same. And as you can see it over here, these are all record albums. This is just some of them. I got a whole lot more over there. I got about 500 record albums total. I've got my cassette player and turntable right here. Because that's the way I listen to music. I'm old school. I always tell people I'm an analog man living in a digital world. Used to stay up late watching it. Kurt Loder, one of the original VJs. Kurt Loder. Tip payments, but that's because I'm physically disabled too. There's Kurt Loder. Don't forget Downtown Julie Brown. Billy Idol's girlfriend worked for MTV as a VJ back then. Martha Quinn. See how many of the original VJs can we remember? We have an awesome vinyl album collection, Will. You'll have to check it out when you come visit. If I ever make it over to the UK, sweetheart, you're one of the first people I'm going to come visit. Great memories? Yeah. I guess in some aspects I'm still stuck back at that time. I don't think I ever want to progress past it. And don't get me wrong, there is some music that's made today that is good. It's just not a whole lot of it, and that I've experienced. No, Francie, I have absolutely zero interest in watching the Super Bowl. As a matter of fact, I'm supposed to play in a golf tournament the day of the Super Bowl, but I don't know if I'm going to be physically able to. Hopefully, cross fingers, knock on wood, that I'll be able to, but I have no interest in the Super Bowl. If you come to the UK, you'd be underwhelmed. It's rubbish. I don't think so. I got an uncle who lives in the UK. I'd have to find out where he lives now. I mean, the only time I ever chat with him is by video through Facebook. What do you call it? Facebook time or FaceTime. I talk to him that way. Otherwise, we send emails back and forth at least 3 or 4 times a month. But he lives in the UK. He likes it there. The White Album. what is that, like the Beatles White Album? My mother-in-law has a copy of the White Album, but by the Beatles that's still sealed. She bought it at Sears Roebuck and never opened it because her mother said that the Beatles were a band of the devil. So it's still sealed. It has the sticker on it and price tag from where she bought it at Sears Roebuck. One with the dark curly hair and glasses. Can't remember her name. The Beatles. I mean, my mom was never a Beatles fan. Always an Elvis fan. I have the first pressing of the White Album. Well, that's cool. I've got some Beatles and Elvis in this collection. I'd have to actually go through them. One of these days, I keep on saying I'm gonna put them in sections at least so I can find them easier. And this record collection that I have here in my studio is a little bit of everything. It's from I've got the blues. I've got kind of like I have Lightning Hopkins, blues artist, BB King, stuff like that. And then I have older, like 1970s country, with Tennessee Lineman by Glenn Campbell to Roger Whittaker. I got stuff like that. Then it goes into rock and roll and pop. Some movie soundtracks like Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles. I have like the soundtracks to those. I also have Empire Strikes Back and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, stuff like that. The soundtracks to them. And then over here, these ones, well, the ones that are on this end right here, starting going back this way, those are punk albums and heavy metal from the 80s. You went to the Beatles in the 1960s, came the grunge era. After that, music just isn't music anymore, with a handful of exceptions. I've got some grunge. I've got like Mudhoney and Nirvana. I like all music. There isn't a music out there that's ever been made that I don't like or can't find value in. I mean, everything from Rammstein to Diana Warwick. I've got it all. Yeah, a lot of Johnny Cash, Bob Dylan, Donovan, which is they called the UK version of Bob Dylan. Personally, I think Donovan was a hell of a better, much better, songwriter. But love punk was brought up in the 70s, UK punk. Well, I've got a lot of it. Happy Gnosis. I've got everything from GBH, which is Great Britain hardcore, GBH punk. They own Sex Pistols to the Dead Kennedys, Black Flag, Anthrax. But it's more metal than punk. But the Replacements, they were a punk band from the Minneapolis area. Boxcar Willie. I don't know if I actually have a Boxcar Willie album, Short Nights. That's something that I'd have to look. Alice in Chains. Hell yeah. Jar of Flies. You can't go wrong with Alice in Chains. Tragic. Sex Pistols, Soundgarden, Linkin Park. Do not have Linkin Park. I had Linkin Park, but I borrowed it to a friend of mine, and like that, I have a whole collection of Dead Kennedys, which is punk from the 80s. Okay, and I borrowed them to a friend of mine, and he left them in the trunk of his car, and they're all got warped and shit. So I made him buy me a brand new copy of every single one of them. Dirt. Dirt was an awesome. Mike, I heard a lot of people saw the YouTube video before it was taken down. Of which one? The guy that decapitated his dad on live stream and showed his head on live stream. I'm still pissed about that. I get my content gets flagged a lot for being graphic and showing blood and guts is what it says. I mean, it's a canned response that for age gating my content. I get that a lot from YouTube, and then people do stupid shit like that, and that just stays up for days on end. But yeah. Crocus. I'm going to show you guys a couple of these. Dead Kennedys. This is fresh fruit for. Oh no, this is give me convenience. These are all brand new. These ones are. These are the ones I made him buy replacements of. Plastic surgery disasters. Bedtime for Democracy. That's just some of the Dead Kennedys. And then there's Black Sabbath, Paranoid. Oh no, I don't just have one. I got multiples of the same album. Ozzy Osbourne, Randy Rhoads, Rush. Video was up for like 6 freaking hours, yet someone says and it was flagged. It's still being circulated. I heard 5,000 people saw the video before it was taken down. I'm sure it was a lot more than that. I'm sure it's a lot more than that. I got sent the link by somebody else last night, so it was up last night. Black Sabbath, can't go wrong with the original Randy Rhoads, and Ozzy Osbourne when he still made sense. But now that's a video, right? I'd play the music, but get copyright matched, and then YouTube would come after me again. And then they shadow ban your entire channel. That's no fun. Gotta love Ozzy. Yeah. Back with Ozzy and Randy Rhoads. Don't forget, quite a few of them though. I love music. I think I'd be lost without music. It's just something that I've always enjoyed. It doesn't matter what mood you're in, you can always find some kind of music to go along with it. Happy music. Feeling full of rage. There's always kind of be that rage music out there. Maybe you want to change your mood. You can put on something else. You can put on Ellis Fitzgerald, and listen to something like that, or Joe Cocker, or the Violent Femmes, whatever, and change your mood and your thinking. Just think how many people downloaded that video and still have it. Oh, I'm sure, yeah. I'm sure it's out there, Francie. I'm sure there's a lot of people who did screen capture of the entire video. Well, it's like Sixth Sense Amelia. Good morning, Amelia. There's videos like the one of the lady who was a daycare worker who was caught on video beating that little baby, the toddler. That video was 1999. It was recorded on VHS, and those things are all over the damn place. You can find them everywhere. But she was at the daycare center in Florida, the case I'm talking about. I'm sure that's happened a lot. ZZ Top. I got ZZ Top, the Eliminator. Is there any music you hate? No, no, there's not. I was saying earlier, Francie, I find value in all music. And that's why this is such a in a very eclectic collection of records. I've got more in the house on top of this, but this is what I listen to, and I find value in everything from like I'm not a big fan of Tennessee Ernie Williams or music like that, but I find value in it, and I listen to it because it's there. The Eagles, got quite a few Eagles records. Zelda, Schubert, classical. I've got classical. Quite a few classical albums. Those are over not this section, but that section over there. Schubert, Chopin, Bach. I've got it. I've got it all. I one of my favorite albums is by Johnny Cash. It's called the Grand Canyon album, and it's all just Johnny Cash and his gospel hymns overlaid with the classical music of Schubert and Chopin. Mozart, Justin Bieber. I do actually own a Justin Bieber CD. I don't have a record of Justin Bieber, but I do have a Believer, CD. Chopin, yeah. Death, and the Maiden. Why am I drawing Death and the Maiden? I've got Iron Maiden. Quite a few Iron Maiden albums. You kind of hate heavy metal. Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you something funny, Francie. When my son was younger, just a toddler, he absolutely would not go to sleep at night or do anything unless he listened to Rammstein in German. And to this day, he'll sing along with with the song in German. He knows it in German, but won't listen to it in English. Now, if you're not familiar with Rammstein, you can look it up on YouTube. Guns N' Roses. I don't have any opera. That is definitely something a section that is definitely missing. Zelda. But back to Rammstein. He still does this day. He'll listen to Katy Perry and music like that, and then go right back to Rammstein, or he listens to acapella science. He loves acapella music in general. Good morning, Connie. When we speak music, we all speak the same language and comes from the same place. Yeah, maybe your son would like Liza Minnelli. I have Liza Minnelli. He listens. My son listens to Liza Minnelli. Yeah, but one of my son's favorite albums that he listens to over and over again in the house is the soundtrack to Fiddler on the Roof. He loves it. Japanese opera is strange. Hmm. Your MIL loves the opera. I've been to a lot of operas in my lifetime and off Broadway plays. Used to go to a lot of them. That's the only ones that we have a traveling circuit that comes through now. And the only thing we ever get to is like Christmas ones now. The Flower Duet. Your son sounds like he has sophisticated taste. Mike, he listens to a little bit of everything, just like his dad. Billie Holiday, I got Billie Holiday. Oh boy, do I have Billie Holiday. I love Billie Holiday's voice. Imagine, but John Lennon. I have an inside the house. I have an entire china cabinet that it's got 4 shelves in it that is nothing but CDs, and we have everything from Elvis Presley to the box sets of, like, Johnny Cash to you name it. I mean, everything is in there on CD form. Because we always take them with us in the car too. Your daughter has a degree in vocal performance, opera singer. Wow. Streisand has the best voice created. Barbara Streisand. I know I have Barbara out here somewhere. She's probably over here in this other section with Dick and Dale, 1950s. Kind of like surfer music, Dick and Dale. Well, you've had a lot of bird scares there in your cabinet. Bird scares in your cabinet. But that's cool, Susan. Your daughter has a degree in vocal performance, opera singer. That's gotta can't be easy to do that, to hit those notes. I can't carry a note in a bucket. Then I start singing, you watch for cats to run. Whitney's voice was heavenly. Whitney Houston. Tragic loss right there. We used old CDs to string up to scare the birds off our plants. Mm. Me and my daughter, we have a favorite thrift store that we go to, and every time we go there, I buy the guy out of everything that he can get his hands on when it comes to cassettes. I've been collecting cassettes for so long. I've got quite a few of them, but I'm looking for particular ones. Especially when it comes to like the early, late 1970s and early music on cassette. They're getting harder and harder to find. If you want to trip out, check out Lazarus Cabaret with Freddie Mercury duet. Freddie Mercury when he was with Queen. Eight tracks. I got 8 tracks. I don't think there are any in here. 1 second. Nope. I don't have any 8 tracks out here. They're all in the house in boxes. But I know I have like Led Zeppelin, House of the Holy on 8-track. I play 8 tracks in your Ford. I don't even own it. I don't have an 8-track player. Records, cassettes, CDs. I don't have an 8-track player. But I don't collect a lot of them. You played 8 tracks in your old Ford though. Do you do cassettes last? Yeah. Yep. You can't see it from the copies in the way, but this right here is an 8-track player, and these are all cassettes. And here I've got Zeppelin, Lightning Hopkins, the replacements, Social Ritual, Lard, and then Ghetto Boys, Public Enemy, America's Most Wanted, and no, that's not John Walsh kind of music. That's rap with Ice Cube. We got the Dixie Chicks, Waylon Jennings. But yeah, they'd last. They last. You just have to make sure you keep them away from magnets. Magnets have a tendency to erase them. Look across between Freddie Mercury and Twisted Sister, Dee Snider. I get a kick out of him. If you guys really want to read, go down a rabbit hole, look up what Dee Snider has been doing since he left Twisted Sister. He's had a hell of a life, a very interesting life. But yeah, Dee Snider, man, when he went to and testified in front of Senate, he roasted Tipper Gore. And Tipper Gore and the PMRC, the Parents Music Resource Center, they're the reasons why we have, the warnings on record albums. You haven't lived if you haven't spliced a cassette back together with cellophane tape, right? I've got boxes full of blank cassettes, Happy Gnosis, that they've never been out of the packages, and these are originals going back to like the 80s, 90s, chrome tapes and onward. I've got a lot of them. Making that mixtape off the radio. I've got some mixtapes in here. Blank cassettes. These are TK 60-minute tapes. They're blank. You never know. Never know when you're gonna need to make a copy for someone. And the cassette deck that's down below here. This is 8 cassettes at once. You put 8 cassettes in. You can put a blank tape in number 5 and record number 1 to number 5. C60s and C90s. Used to love making mixtapes. Yeah, right. I still do. I can make them right now. I can record off the radio or a record player. I have an 8-track player, not an 8-track, but a reel-to-reel player. But the belt's broken. I've only got like 2 albums on reel-to-reel. You have a cassette of your wedding in Orange County, U.S. in 1989. Kid you not. Wow. Is it like VHS? Or is it a beta? Or like movie? I've got somewhere on one of these shelves, it's back there on that shelf. But I have a Betamax player. Like camcorder Betamax. Winding a cassette tape back into the case with your finger and hoping the tape isn't stretched or creased, or with the end of an ink pen. You take the ink pen and you stick with the cap on it and you stick it in there and you can wind it back that way. All the things that we used to do to listen to music that young kids these days will never understand. No, just audio cassette. The pastor was very dramatic. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, actually, I have a Betamax player that it still records the Betamax, which is smaller than the the VHS. But It's also been converted to digital. I had a buddy who reprogrammed it and rewired it. There's actual wires sticking out of it, but it still works on beta. Don't know where the hell you'd get Betamax tapes anymore, but still have it. The entire shelf is just nothing but cameras that I've started with. That's how long I've been at this. One day it seemed like I'd been at YouTube for a couple of years, and next thing you know, it was 6 years. It's actually been longer since I've had my YouTube channel. The first videos, all those original videos, they're all gone, long gone. But they were just like spoof videos. I made videos with Leonard Cohen music, playing in the background or overlaid with a video. But that was a long time ago. Gotta be careful those old cassettes though. Yeah, I wonder what's even in the cassette player right now. I could looking through the window, I can see there's like three cassettes in there right now. I have no idea. Most likely it's Led Zeppelin, because I'd like to just put it in when I'm reading and then play it in the background. I just noticed that the whole thing was on. I remember old reel tape recorders. I'd play a record on the record player and then press play and then the tape recorder. Yeah, I only have a couple of actual reels that have music on them. I bought the whole thing. Jesus, 30, 40 years ago. I can't remember. Long enough time ago. Long time ago. Well, it's got to be close to 30 years because my daughter is in her mid-20s now. So it hasn't worked in years. It just sits on the shelf out there. I inherited a Blue Ambro cylinder recorder from my grandfather. Nothing to play them on. Oh, are those like the cylinders, like the old Edison cylinders? I'm not familiar with that model or name. I have to go. Great to see you, Will. You take care. Happy Gnosis. And again, everybody, if you get a chance, check out Happy Gnosis' YouTube channel. You're old. We're all old. I'm back. My 92-year-old mom is in the hospital. I had to talk to your sister. I'm sorry about that, Gayla. Sorry your mother's not feeling well. Is in the hospital. I hope she, makes a quick recovery. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna take off myself. I really want to say thank you for everybody for hanging out and listening to me ramble this morning. Give this a thumbs up, on the way out, if you will, or give it a thumbs down, whichever you prefer. If you didn't like it and you thought it was a useless amount of your, waste of your time, give it a thumbs down. Leave some negative comments, or positive comments. I'll take positive comments too. But everyone, thank you again for hanging out with me this morning, and I hope to see you tomorrow. I'm not making any guarantees if I'm going to be able to do trivia tomorrow. Like I said, I'm taking it day by day, and just trying to get through right now. But everyone, have a wonderful day. Thank you again.